Hey guys, it is Brian Upshaw here with the Upshaw edit. I'm going to try to quickly just show you some of the more advanced features in Lightroom. So this first picture, actually I've already got it changed here. That's what the ending, my original. Let me change it back. What I did is use the brush to bring out the detail in the mountains. So you can see this was the original, and that's what it looked at, like later. And so what I did is I just used this brush, which allows you to do localized editing. And if I can get it to come up, I just used exposure. You can do a custom, you can do a preset, you can change whatever you want to. But I decided just to stick with exposure, so I just decreased the exposure a little bit and went over the sky here, and you can see it really brings back the detail in the mountains that you lost, so that you can get the foreground in focus, exposed for, and you can also have the background exposed as well using the localized brush. And there's a lot of different options you can do with the brush as well, which you'll see in some of the other pictures. This one right here, you can see it's not like a drastic difference between the two pictures. But when I took this picture, like the flowers were just overexposed so that they didn't look very bright, vibrant. They weren't very purple. In real life, they were this dark, bright purple. When I took the picture, they were kind of washed out. So one of the cool things you can do in Lightroom is you can actually adjust individual colors. So if you go down here, you'll see the luminance, which is like how much light each color is giving off. You can change that for each individual color. So I just decreased the amount of light that purple was giving off, which made it darker, and so you were able to see it, and it looked a lot more like the original picture. I think I did the same thing here for the sky, for the blue. I might have increased the luminance just a little bit, or increased the saturation to where the sky is a lot brighter, a lot more attractive, and then just kind of cropped it so that these geysers on the side are framing the geyser that's going off there in the middle. This next picture is of mi hermana, Amy. You can see the first picture. I mean, it's a pretty cool picture, but it's a little dark, so just increasing exposure is going to help. And then one of the neat things about Lightroom, it's got all these like presets, and it shows you up here in the top left what it's going to look like, so I can kind of quickly just get an idea of which one I think is going to look good. So I think I used a preset called Creative Cold Tone, which I thought just kind of gave it this artistic flair to it. And then I used the brush, I used exposure again. This time I increased the exposure and just went over her eyes a little bit. In a portrait, you always want to be able to, at least almost always, you want the eyes to be kind of the focus of the picture. I think it, her hair with this kind of artistic look kind of makes the picture. And so you couldn't see her eyes very well before, but using that brush I was able to increase the exposure over her eyes so that you can see them a lot better. This was taken at one of my friend's house. You can see I increased the contrast and vibrance a bit to make the picture pop a little bit more. But you can also see that it's got a rainbow, which you can barely see in that first picture, but you can see it really well in the second picture, which is really cool because again, like, it's so hard to get the sky in focus and the foreground. But using what I did was I just used the brush and I think increased saturation and went over the rainbow, so I was able to bring out the detail, but still have the foreground, still have the house look really cool. This next one of my friend's little brothers was friends with this guy that could do backflips, and so I don't have the original picture, but it was taken like a few, like half or quarter second before this one, so it pretty much looked like that beforehand. And then what I did is I used the brush and I just decreased the saturation, and so I used the brush and went all around them, taking away all the color so that he was the only thing that had any saturation, any color. And then in Photoshop I just added this text. I can do anything I set my mind to. You start with, like, it's an okay picture, like what he's doing is pretty cool, but the photo itself isn't all that great. And then I think not only is this flip awesome, but I think the color really makes it a great photograph. These were the pictures I used as an example in my first video. These were some engagement pictures that I took for a friend, and you can see just kind of like that was a creative effect I did. This was another black and white. I think my time is about to run out, but you can kind of get an idea of the ways I use the brush and stuff to make these pictures.